Hello, everyone. Welcome to Pageant Live. It's Pamela Prevent. I am very fortunate to be able to be interviewing not only many other title holders, but now I am also interviewing the USA title holders of the Northwest. Very interesting. I've learned a lot from them. It's very interesting. Our country is very large, and being predominantly from the Northeast, I am hearing things that are just magnificent and things that they do that I'm not familiar with because I'm up in the Northeast. So, they're educating me. And right now I have Jami Forseth. She is Miss Montana, USA. Jami, say hello.
Hi, everyone.
So, something what I found very interesting is the different things that she is very accomplished in different areas. As black belt, you're an instructor, you have created a platform called Power Presence. Tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, so I achieved my black belt in Chi-To-Do when I was only 12 years old, and it just grew from there. After taking a break from it, I was in an abusive relationship for 4 years through high school and college, and once I broke out of that, I wanted to find myself again and get my confidence back. So I got back into training with Jiu-Jitsu and Taekwondo and decided that I didn't want any other girls to go through what I went through and feel alone, especially in Montana because we don't have a lot of resources for girls going through abusive relationships. So I started Power Presence and got certified as a level 1 Krav Maga self-defense instructor. So now my goal is to tour as many high schools as I can around Montana and teach young women self-defense and self-confidence techniques before they go to college.
Let's talk about just a minute about the abusive relationship. So tell women, they may not understand the signs, and if these signs, what is your recommendation for them to do?
When you're in an abusive relationship, you feel really isolated and feel alone. So people can gaslight you, and I felt like really isolated from my family, and I felt like there was no resources who I could go out and talk to somebody, and you don't really want to reach out because you're so protective of yourself and that person, and you don't really realize that you're being manipulated or abused even when you're in the middle of it. So my whole goal with going to high schools is if I know if someone like Miss Montana USA came to my high school and talked about the signs of an abusive relationship and what you can do and resources and hotlines you can call, I wouldn't feel so alone, and I might have gotten the courage to break out of that sooner.
Wow, that's amazing. Looking at you, you're absolutely stunning. And you're well spoken, you're educated, and it's just, like you said, it's a control thing. And I think too, in high school too, you were changing too. You had a lot going on internally. So I can see if is that person that you broke away from, are they still like that? Would you say, or have they moved on and realized they're?
No, I honestly wouldn't know. I haven't been in contact with that person since that happened, and it was about 5 years ago now that I broke out of that relationship, and I just completely cut myself off from social media, texting, blocked everything, so I can't see what that person's doing anymore, and that was a big step that I needed to move on, just completely block it out and move on with positive things in my life so that person couldn't reach out to me, because I knew right when I broke up with him that if he would have reached out to me, I would have had that sympathy and that love, and it might have started that relationship again. So I think that's another important thing for girls to do, is just completely block it off and end it when it's done, and take care of yourself first rather than prioritizing that other person.
And you moved it into a positive, in other words, to refocus, who you were and things like that. I think that I applaud you, because there's many people that don't get out of those relationships. Another thing is, so let's talk about how did you get into pageantry?
So I started pageantry when my older sister, her name's Michael, she on a whim decided to compete at Miss Montana USA, and my family had not been involved in pageants at all, so we were kind of shocked. And I think I was 13 or 14 years old when I first watched her, and I was starstruck. I still remember the song they walked out to in evening gown. It was Diamonds by Rihanna. And I went home after watching her compete in the pageant, and I stole my sister's prom dress and walked around in my room pretending I was competing in a pageant. And from then on, I was hooked. and I knew I wanted to be that person and compete at Miss USA someday.
That is so, because you actually also won Miss Montana Teen USA, correct?
Yes, in 2016.
And then you went on. I think it's very amazing because, you live in a very rugged part of the country. We all know that, it's very, there's a cattle and roping and all these different things going on. So it really allowed you to show your feminine side, right? You found an outlet.
Yeah. It gave me an opportunity that I would not have found anywhere else in Montana. Growing up in small town Montana, there isn't really any modeling or entertainment opportunities unless you move away. So this is my one outlet to show a different side of myself, and I was just hooked from day one.
It's amazing. But with that being said, tell everyone about your career. In other words, you're currently in college, and let them know what your career path is.
Yeah, so I am studying equestrian and canine rehabilitation. So I'd love to do physical therapy on dogs, and especially tour around Montana and work on ranch and rodeo horses and do physical therapy, massage therapy, and help them perform in rodeos and on ranch work, because those horses are really worked a lot.
See, this is what I'm saying. Could you see this beautiful thing coming out? Well, I'm out here to take care of your cattle or take care of I'm not laughing. I'm just laughing at, even you guys are you're stunning. And I'm sort of like, and I'm sure you're very qualified though too.
No, it's definitely a different side. And I grew up in participating in 4-H as well. And I had my senior year of high school, I had a pig named Tyree, and he was about 400 pounds, and he was like a dog. I taught him how to sit. I would take him on walks around down my little street, and all my neighbors were like, is that girl really taking her pig for a walk? He would sit in my lap and take naps with me. I've just always had a big connection with animals, and I've loved training them and working with them.
Wait a minute. How did that 400-pound pig sit in your lap?
He started when he was just a baby, and so when he got super big, I'd kind of sit crisscross, and he'd sit between my legs, but it was like his comfort. He loved sitting in my lap and just sleeping. It was kind of got to be a pain when he was older, but I loved him so much that I made it work.
I think that I think it's amazing, and I also tell everyone else about the additional work that you do, your platforms.
Yeah, so I am a level 1 certified Krav Maga instructor, so I just love interacting with young women and teaching them self-confidence and self-defense techniques. And one thing that I realized, I've been involved in self-defense since I was 8 years old. And when women get older, they feel really uncomfortable going and learning self-defense because it's a male-dominated industry, and it's usually men teaching the classes, and it's very intimate. You're grabbing each other in really close contact with people, and it can be scary going into a class and not knowing anybody else and men grabbing you and teaching you these things. So I got certified myself to teach the classes, and I want it to be only women so that women feel comfortable and feel confident to actually try out these techniques so they can use them later in life when they're needed.
Will you talk a little bit about your working with as an advocate for the children in foster care?
Yeah, so Montana has a lot of children in foster care, and growing up I had foster siblings, and they really struck a chord with me. They are so smart and loving and had the biggest hearts ever, and I swear my 5-year-old foster sister was smarter than I was at 15 years old. They're just so intelligent, and they have so many capabilities, and I just knew that they could have this great future if they just were given the resources that they needed to succeed. And so now that I'm older, I wanted to get involved some way. And being a college student and traveling around, you don't really have a lot of money to donate towards these things. So the one thing that I can give is my time. So that's when I found CASA. So I'm a court-appointed special advocate for children in foster care. So I represent different cases and children in foster care at court. And I'm the one person who talks with their families and their social workers, their teachers, and I see what these kids really need, and I advocate for what I think the best thing is for them, whether it's rehoming them or adoption or staying in foster care. If I think that their parents, I can get them connected with different rehab sources or family groups, or give them gas cards so they can get back and forth from appointments. Just really advocate to make sure that these kids are getting what they need to succeed.
Wow, that is absolutely amazing. And I know I can only imagine that is not a easy job, I'm sure. But I'm
No,
glad.
you have a lot of heartbreaking cases.
Yes, and I applaud you, because that is definitely that's a huge give back. It really is. Because children need, children need people that care about them. That's very important. So
Yeah.
I applaud you. I really do on that. So let me ask you something about this. So let's talk about what are you doing to prepare for, you will be competing next year for Miss USA. So tell me what you're doing to prepare yourself for that competition.
Yeah, so it's kind of the same way that I've been preparing for Miss Montana USA, but just amped up a little bit, I guess. My main thing was, who do I think Miss Montana USA should be, and how can I become that person? And how does that look for me? And I think that a title holder is a role model, and I just live my life every day to be that role model, be that person who makes good choices that people can look up to and be relatable and have fun throughout my year as well. But for Miss USA, of course, with Evening Gown Fitness and Interview, I have all sorts of sponsors that work with Pageants Northwest, and I've been working a lot on my walk for runway. I actually had I had reconstructive surgery on my feet twice. And so I kind of had to relearn how to walk in heels. I was in a wheelchair 2 summers ago for 3 months, and I didn't get out of the wheelchair until 2 weeks before I competed in my first Miss Montana USA pageant. And so my walk from then to now has gotten a lot better, but I still want to improve on that. So that's one of my main goals. But just really working on my interview skills, like things like this right now, just talking to as many people as I can and getting my voice out there and just improving on myself.
Wow, that is just incredible. It shows that you're really, you have a lot of grit, and that's really something to say. You do. I mean, that's amazing. You go and you win, and you're going to go ahead and get focused. I would say that, definitely when trait I've picked up is that the people in Montana have a lot of, they have a lot of character, and willing to push. So, so let me ask you, so what after this? In other words, after you go and you compete and things like that, and of course you're going to go on into your career. Is there anything that you would like people to know about you?
My main goal this year is to let people know my heart, my intentions. I have a huge faith for God, and I want to share His word and His love and live by my morals and be a role model this year. And I would love to make connections all throughout the state and even throughout our country, and I don't really know what the future is going to hold for me. Obviously I want to work with animals, but I don't know if I want to be involved in the modeling or entertainment industry. So I'm really focusing on making connections this year. And I would really love for people to know my heart this year.
So let's talk about that. So have you, I know we're in the pandemic, so it's hard. You haven't been able to really get out and develop that modeling side, which is definitely something that, that's required in USA. Have you done any local modeling, or how are you preparing for that?
So the last couple months after the pageant, I did travel a little bit and have been able to make some cool connections, but there are some really cool local photographers that once the weather clears up, I'd like to work with. I know there's Emily Summer Studio. She's in Missoula, and she's worked with a lot of pageant girls, so I'd love to work with her sometime soon. And I have worked with Austin Ride before, and I'd really like, when things are safe again, to travel the country and work with more people.
Oh, did he come up to you, or because he's in California? Did you go to California?
I flew down to LA.
Yeah, I bet, I was going to say, in Montana.
No, I don't think he'd come to Montana.
Yeah, I bet he would, though, So tell everyone, how can they follow you on your journey? What is your social media handles?
So my social media is just at Jami Forseth on Facebook, Instagram. All of them are just the same, Jami Forseth.
Well, that makes it easy.
Yeah.
So let's do the lightning round. That's something, that we like to ask, just to get a different side of you. So tell me, what is your favorite food?
Pomegranates.
Pomegranates?
Mm-hmm.
You guys don't grow them, right? They have to be.
No, we don't. We only have them in Montana a couple months out of the year, but I stock up when they're here. That's like my favorite thing about fall in Montana is that we have pomegranates and I eat them like every day. I love them.
Who's your favorite designer?
I actually worked with Day Galaviz this year for my Miss Montana USA gown, and it was my dream dress. So I have to say, he definitely wins that one. He is a visionary. He can bring what you want into real life. It's insane.
Is he creating your gown for Miss USA?
So we don't know who we're going to be able to work with this year for Miss USA because previous year Sherry Hill has sponsored it, so everyone had to work with Sherry Hill, but that's kind of up in the air this year. So we're not sure what that's going to look like, but hopefully we'll find out soon.
Sherry's a magnificent designer.
I've wore she designed my gown for Miss Teen USA, which is really special for me because my aunt was diagnosed with ovarian cancer and fought that battle for 5 years. So my gown was teal, which is the color for ovarian cancer, and my aunt got to watch me compete at Miss Teen USA, representing her 2 weeks before she passed away. So Sherry Hill holds a special place in my heart for sure.
Oh, wow. What's your favorite movie?
I don't know if I have a favorite movie. Maybe Star Wars. All the Star Wars movies. I love those.
So if I could grant you one wish, what would that be?
Oh my gosh, there's so many things that I would wish for. Maybe there's two, probably. I would love to be able to make a big impact in Montana and help with the missing and murdered Indigenous women problem in Montana. And two, kind of on the lighter side of things, to be able to talk to animals.
Oh, you want to be like a horse whisperer, a dog whisperer?
Yes, that would be my dream since I was little.
And real quick, I want to go back to what you said. I don't want to make light of that because it's a big problem with the Native American women. Could you just talk a little bit about that because we need to let people hear that. That's for sure.
It's crazy that this has been so pushed under the radar and hasn't really gotten national attention. I think recently it's gotten more attention, but Native American women, 4 out of 5 Native American women experience some kind of violence in their lifetime, and Native American women are going missing at an insane rate in Montana, Wyoming, around the reservations, and they don't have the resources to find these women, and it's just being pushed under the radar. And yeah, there needs to be more people talking about this, more attention, and something needs to be done. So I'd really like to make an impact throughout my years Miss Montana USA to get more attention drawn to this so we can start solving that problem and bring these families the justice that they deserve. Yeah,
you're working two extremely good causes. The children being advocate for them, and also being the voice of the Native American women that are, going through the abuse and are being, are missing and things like that. So, I think that, I hope you can get that message out. And I do hope that somebody takes it and does something with it, to help you achieve more, I should say. Jami, listen, thank you for your time. It was my pleasure meeting you. And I do hope you have a great holiday. Go ahead and, if you will, say goodbye to everyone. And
yeah, thank you so much for having me. It was a joy talking to you. And yeah, I can't wait to see this on Pageant Live magazine.
Yes, thank you so much. Happy holidays.
You as well.